So I would like to welcome to the stage the last solo session of the day, which is how to leverage predictive analytics to enhance iOS marketing performance by Keren from Pecan.ai. Come on up to the stage.
So hi everyone, I'm really excited to be here. Can you hear me well?
Yeah.
Cool, perfect, thank you. So I'm Keren and I'm the Gaming Customer Success Manager at Pecan.ai. And I'll be speaking to you about the wonderful world of Scan, which, as I assume you know, took away our user-level attribution to channels and campaigns. I will share with you how can you still regain your iOS visibility. It's okay to put it there, that's fine. Thank you. Okay, thanks. So how can you regain your iOS visibility? By using predictive analytics. Thanks. Okay, so I've been working with gaming customers for the past 10 years. And in the last 2 years, since I started at Pecan, I've been working mainly with marketing and user acquisition teams, helping them enhance their marketing performance through AI-based predictions, which is basically what Pecan does. So just in a few words, Pecan is a predictive analytics platform focusing on the business value and the business KPIs. So we actually work with different business teams in companies, helping them use predictions as part of their decision making without having to rely on data science or data engineering teams. We provide user-level predictions for various use cases such as campaign optimization and management, churn prevention, increasing conversions, MMM, and more. And we work with various companies, non-gaming and gaming, such as SciPlay, Dream Games, Bagel Code, Holy Water, and many more. So let's start from where it hurts and kind of climb up from there. Bottom line, user acquisition managers, you're not alone. At the end of the day, I assume that you, like everyone, are expected to scale, and you need to find the best way to do it, and that's not an easy task always. So after a few years of amazing growth in the gaming industry that I'm sure you're all aware of, we have experienced some kind of decline in the last 2 years post-pandemic. It seems that the gaming consumers are simply spending less. That means that the competition is increasing and the prices of acquiring new high-value users is getting more and more expensive. In addition, the marketing landscape is getting more and more complex. You need to find the best blend for your specific company. You need to find how to invest your marketing budget the best way. And if that wasn't enough, privacy is getting stricter. So we have Apple that actually launched their app tracking transparency policy in 2021 and their SCAN framework. And of course, Privacy Sandbox coming up soon, and we are all kind of preparing for it. So that basically means that you need to get more out of less in a kind of a jungle with your eyes have closed. And that's not easy. So the best way to do it is by actually maximizing your data, using long-term KPIs in decision making, being proactive rather than reactive, and use predictive analytics. Okay. Cheers. So, you might be familiar with some type of versions of the same example I will share. We still see it with customers today. So one of the most common metrics used for campaign management and optimization is LTV day 7. The assumption behind it is that ROAS day 7 is actually a good proxy for long-term performance of campaigns. Now, in many cases, it's completely correct. It is a good indicator. However, not always and not only. As we see, campaigns are not linear. We have some campaigns that actually acquire users who tend to convert very early on. We have campaigns that actually acquire users who tend to convert very late and might have higher retention rates. So you want to keep a good blend of both. Here's an example of two campaigns that share the same target. We have the purple and the green campaign, A and B. So As you can see here, we have on the x-axis the days since install, and on the y we have the ROAS of these two campaigns. And we can see in the kind of zooming on your left, you can see that the green campaign actually did not meet the target ROAS of day 7. That means that a company uses LTV day 7 as their main metric will probably decide to lower the budget of this campaign. But as we can see, when time progresses, this campaign is actually overperforming and reached the break-even point much earlier. This is what we call a late bloomer. So we would like to keep both types of campaigns, and especially the green campaign, as we can see. And the best way to do it is using predictive analytics. And why? You could actually predict on day 7 or even earlier what will be the day 180 or any day you choose, LTV of your campaign. You can calculate the ROAS and then make decisions based on that. So you'll make decisions very early on, but based on long-term KPIs. Okay? So I assume some of you are actually already doing it today and using it today in your decision making. And if not, I encourage you to try. But it's kind of straightforward when it comes to Android. It gets much more complicated when it comes to iOS and the SCAN framework. And I will share. So first, just to kind of align in a few words about SCAN. So as you know, SCAN is Apple's framework to actually help companies measure their ad activity while actually protecting the user's privacy. That means that we actually get input about our users' engagement. However, only on the first 24 hours. We get it in delay, in an aggregated level, on a campaign level, and also partial. That means it makes every calculation much more complicated than it used to be. Okay? We are unable to actually connect the user to the campaign or to attribute the user to the campaign, which is the baseline to pretty much every metric we used until now. Now, ROI basically became unknown. That means that the only way we can make budgeting decisions is based on assumptions and early indications, which, as we just saw in the example before, might actually be misleading. So, just to go through the kind of life cycle before SCAN. So, app developers used to spend their marketing spend on different marketing channels to acquire new users. They can later monitor the performance of these users, the revenue they generated, and they could have calculated exactly how much revenue and what is the ROAS of this specific campaign for long-term metrics, like ROAS day 90. Now, after SCAN, we lack the ability to actually attribute, as I mentioned, the user to the campaign, so we can monitor the performance. And the only thing that we can do is take a look at ROAS day 1. And even that is not completely accurate and full. So I assume that your LTV over time looks more or less like this. The idea is that revenue and the LTV revenue is generated by long-term engagement and retention of users. So if we can see only the 24 hours, it is simply not good enough to make good decisions regarding our campaigns and the budgeting. Okay, that is why we actually saw a clear impact on the market after Apple introduced SCAN. So we saw a lot of marketeers kind of shift their budget from iOS to Android, which is a kind of a shame because I assume you are all aware of the fact that the ARPU, the average revenue per user of iOS users in general, is higher than the Android users. And in addition, Apple was just the first to do it. So we will have sandbox and pretty much need to deal with the privacy anyway. So we can kind of shift our budget. We need to face it and find the best solution of how to work with it. So, having said all of that, how can you actually still regain your iOS visibility? I will share a glimpse to Pecan's solution, and we can continue from there. So, the first thing that we do when we start working with a new customer is we run a deep analysis of our customers' user-level data. Based on this analysis, we actually build predictive models that predict for each user what is the predicted LTV that he will generate on day 30, 60, 90, 180. Okay? So basically, we take into account all the data that you've collected on that user, and in the gaming industry, we collect a lot of data. So we take everything into account, the demographics, his engagement, the revenue he generated so far, everything taken into account when we actually predict what is the LTV for this specific user. In addition, we actually help our customers optimize their conversion schema. So we help them find the best way to build the conversion schema and also implement some predictive events inside their conversion schema to be used later on. So once everything is done, we actually changed the schema and went live. This is the process and how it looks like. We are generating a prediction per each user regarding his future LTV. We send this prediction to Scan through the MMP, and later we receive postbacks. Those postbacks actually are being analyzed and prepared to be used in the process that will come, actually. And then we distribute the revenue that we've predicted to begin with for this specific cohort. We distribute this revenue to the campaigns based on the postbacks using a machine learning algorithm. That means that at the end of the day, you actually have predicted LTV on a campaign level for all of your campaigns that are under Scan, of course. And you can use it for campaign management and campaign optimization. That means that if we said before that the only thing that you have with Scan is day one revenue or day one ROAS, now you can actually regain your visibility, and I can actually make decisions based on quantifiable results on the ROAS of day, again, 30, 60, depending what is the model that you choose. And then you can actually really compare the campaigns and decide how to allocate your budget the best way. So we send our predictions to our customers so they can implement it into their BI dashboard, so they can pretty much use it easily as they're used to be to work until now. We also share our dashboards, of course, but anyway, at the end of the day, what they have is for each campaign, on each time frame that you choose, you can see exactly what was the cost, how many installs did the campaign generate, the CPI, the day one ROAS, and the predicted LTV or predicted ROAS. They can also see which type of users this campaign actually acquired. Okay, the quality of the users. They can monitor the performance and the installs, the revenue over time, etc. So they can make smart decisions based on that. So to kind of sum things up, I'd like to share two examples of two customers of ours. One of them is a Bagel Code, and you can see here a quote from Nir, their VP Marketing. I will give you a second to read, and then I can drink a little bit. Both customers, and not only them, of course, changed completely the way they made decisions in Scan after they started working with Pecan. And we can see here another example of a customer that before working with us actually felt very uncomfortable making budgeting decisions in iOS and started lowering his spend, decreased his user acquisition in iOS. After the solution was implemented, once he felt comfortable with it, got his visibility back, had tools to actually make smarter decisions, he could then scale and increase his iOS share while actually meeting his target ROAS. So you can see it here. And the light purple line is when we actually implemented our solution. So no matter how you choose to tackle it, if you want to choose a company, if you want to do it on your own, here are 3 takeaways I would love for you to kind of take from this session. First, don't settle for outdated descriptive app metrics like day 1 or day 7, LTV or ROAS. Use predictive analytics, use your data wisely, be proactive, don't be reactive. Second, build your conversion schema wisely. It's amazing to consult with peers. It's great to get inspiration from other companies and the way they build their conversion schema if they want to share it. But at the end of the day, you need to build something that is relevant for your specific app, for your users' behavior, and also preferably include predictive signals in it. And last thing, be flexible and experiment. Now is the time. We have Scan4 coming, and we have Sandbox. These things change constantly. Use this time to kind of try, experiment, find what works well for you, and then you can add additional layers on top of that. That's it. Thank you very much, and if you want us to help in any way, you are more than welcome to visit and meet us in the stand.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That's great. Keren, thank you very much. Thank you. Now,
I didn't leave a lot of time.
No, you're good. We are coming close to the end, but do we have time for one question maybe? Well,
I'm good.
Do we have a question from the audience? One down the front here. Please, we'll get you a mic so that the people at the back can hear. Thank you, and then move on.
Hello, G from Multiplayer. I don't know if it's working.
Yes.
Yeah, it's working.
The predictive analysis, when you go 180 days from the first day that you predict it, what's the confidence spectrum? Like, how much can you hit what you guys predict?
Yeah, well, at the end of it, you mean about the accuracy of the prediction? Yeah, okay. So it changes based on the data. At the end of the day, if you have a large enough amount of data, and also data about things that happened before, depending on how stable your app, etc. So we can reach even very high accuracy rates, like 90, even up to 90 or more than that. But it's very much dependent on the specific data. So it's not something like a metric that I can say. But I can say that it will probably, or not probably, surely be much better than any multiplier or kind of benchmark that a lot of companies, BI benchmark, use today. Hope it answers your question. Cool.
Thank you. Well, we'll leave it there. If anyone does have another question, of course, you can look Keren up on Meet to Match and come and find you around the venue. So Thank you very much for your time. That was great.
Thank you.